Right. Okay, I've had to hit record. Ooh.
East Coast radio station. That's the thing.
I am getting a 60s Radio 1 vibe here, like with that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit, guys. I'm Alex Whiteley. Of course, it's me. And I'm sat with Andy McKeown. Is it Andy McKeown or Andy McKeown?
It's technically, well, it depends where you are. If you're in Ireland, it's McKeown.
Yeah.
And if you're in Scotland, it's McKeown.
Oh, okay. So I got it right then.
But as the grandparents were, one of them was Scottish, hence the name. And hence my children being a Hamish and a Fergus.
Hamish and a Fergus. Got to keep it there. I was having a discussion about our wedding plans a few years ago, obviously, with the wife. And she's like, why do we go burnt orange? It's like, because I'm Irish. Yeah, she was like, oh, yeah. I was like, told you that was really important. It's funny, isn't it? When it's important to them, it's like, when it's important to us, it's kind of like, oh, really? Okay. I'm only joking. My wife's amazing. She's so supportive of what I do. I love you, darling. I've been wanting to speak to you for a long time because your name is mentioned across Shrewsbury. I've heard your name mentioned with so many different events, but we've never just got around to doing it. I don't know why, but I'm glad.
I'm a very secretive person, you see. I'm a hermit.
We had a great conversation last week when we were planning this, and he's like, I'm very tempted to put a hood over your head and pick you up in a transit van so you don't know the location of where I am. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And he's like, I'm only joking.
We're going to have to do this at some point, I think.
Yeah, because I'm at the studio now, which is a secret location, and I got to say, I walked in. I got to explain to the listeners. Before I started doing this, I never thought I would be able to geek out over microphones, mixing boards, and whatnot. But since I've started doing this, there are things that I would love to own and to use. And I walked into Andy's studio, and it's like a paradise for me, for anybody that works with audio. So thank you for inviting me today.
No, you're most welcome. It's a toy shop.
Yeah,
I saw a toy shop.
Very much is a toy shop. I always start this show BMNF, the beginning, middle, now and future. So let's start at the beginning for you. Where do you hail from, Andy?
I'm a bog trotter.
Which is
a bog trotter. I was born just sort of south of Ditton Fen in Cambridgeshire.
Oh, okay.
So on the edge of the fen. So I was born and raised in Bottisham, went to school in Cambridge.
Okay. And what brought you to Shrewsbury this way? Have you moved around a bit, or
No. I wanted to escape the fens. I love the featureless landscape with the odd poplar trees. I'm still lust after flat landscapes and big skies. But what I don't like is the fact that there's nothing much going on.
Yeah.
And there wasn't. And so it was a 7-mile hike into town. If I missed the bus, I had to walk home from school, as it was. As soon as I could get away, I did.
I'm going to take a picture of you.
Oh, look at that. Look, press. Oh, dear.
You came to Shropshire when?
No, I went to I actually went, because my parents didn't want me to be an artist.
Ah, okay. We're going to get onto that later.
Yeah, they didn't want me. So, I ended up going to Polton-le-Fylde College of Education, which is a teacher training college, because my art teacher said the only way to get round them is to become an art teacher. So, brilliant. So, it's Lancaster University, basically. And I met my wife there.
Okay.
I met her at the bottom of a stairwell when she was... Yes. As we've been together 46 years.
Congratulations. My wife used to give me lifts home from where we worked at Asda years and years ago. And one day I was like, you want to go to the cinema?
It's always a tricky business, isn't it?
Yeah. Would you yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. The whole art, I speak to artists a lot, around Shrewsbury, around the world, and I don't think I've ever asked this. The difficulty of a young person going to their parents and saying, I want to be an artist. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to go in the police, or I don't want to do anything like that. I want to be an artist. And the cliche thing in the movies and the TVs, no, you're not going to artist. You're not going to be an artist. You're going to, how are you going to make money?
Yeah, all of that.
It's a challenge, right?
Yeah. My father was a writer. You'd think he would have got it. Perhaps he did get it, and he didn't want me to do that. He wanted me to be an engineer because I was good at making stuff. So, but it was nice. I just refused to do anything, basically, when that happened. All I've ever wanted to do since I was about 5 or 6 is be an artist. So becoming an art teacher was a really neat move. My mum was a teacher, so they couldn't say no.
Oh, yeah. And you taught art?
I taught at the Grange. I also taught at Hadley Manor.
Oh wow, okay.
Before it became a fortress. So yeah, I did 5 years at the Manor, and then I became head of department at the Grange, and then director of studies, and then sidetracked into computing. I fell over a computer. I was given a floppy disk in 1980.
Floppy disk, yeah.
For
the people that are listening, I don't know what a floppy disk is. It's a square piece of plastic that hold about 5 meg.
No,
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 lower,
little, tiny amounts, about 100k.
Oh, wow. So that's what a floppy disk was.
Yeah, and it was the big ones, 5 1/4.
Wow.
Somebody gave me a disc and said the title said Tessa, and it was a tessellation program, and it had 8x8 grid, and you could change the colours of them. And I was totally sold on it. That was it. That changed everything, because I started working it out so I could screen print from it, because that's what I was designing and building for teaching, screen printing stuff. And then I bought an Atari. In 1986, and so I went to a showing and came back with one. So look what I bought. And a few days later, I'd done a 12-frame animation that Atari saw.
Wow.
And that was it. It changed everything.
Atari, for the guys listening, don't know what Atari is. That was the video game, right?
No. It was a computer. Atari had an operating system better than Apple's.
Okay. See,
yeah,
I'm learning now.
ST520 and then a 1040. I mean, they had a floppy disk. You had to load the operating system and stuff. But they had WIMP displays, Windows icons, mice and pointers. So in other words, the same as now, way back. And they were so good. They also had lots of colours. I mean, that was it, 256 colours. Yeah. When nobody else was even near. They were so far out. I don't know what they did in the end, but they blew it, basically. But yeah, they sponsored me. I ran a couple
blame
of projects.
E.T. I think that's the person we need to blame for the loss of Atari. They made that game that was just voted the worst game.
Oh, is that what it was? I probably did, yeah. But I mean, their computing was great. I loved it. And I had a great time. And I met loads of fabulously intelligent people that basically thought I was doing all right. So it was quite cool.
It's amazing, isn't it, when you can do what you know and enjoy, and people think you're a genius for doing it.
Yeah,
right?
It's all smoke and mirrors, though.
Look at this guy making this amazing piece of artwork, and you're just sitting there playing on paint. You know, you're just like, well, come and see. Yeah.
That's exactly what it was like at the start. There wasn't nobody was doing anything. I met lots of people that were just sort of scratching around in the dirt, me included, and it was good. And then I joined the advisory service in Shropshire for schools. I asked too many questions, so in the end they gave me a job, which was brilliant. So I spent 8 years wandering about the county, creating inspirational lessons for teachers and students with them, and it was great.
So are these lessons like sort of outside the box? Sort of
these
like
were,
pushing the curriculum
I took
to the...
all my equipment that I had, synths, all sorts of weird stuff.
There's a lot of equipment here, guys. But
I just took a big box of kit in the car, and we'd go and we'd spend a couple of days making a ghost film at one school or creating a soundtrack at another. And it was fantastic. The idea was to introduce teachers to computing, but in a creative way.
Yeah.
So that was great until I did some work for Channel 4 and Oxford University Press whilst I was still working for the advisory service. And then they made me redundant. They were closing things down anyway. They made me redundant at almost the same time that I got an award for Channel 4 School's first CD-ROM.
Unbelievable.
I know, it's one of those things. But yeah, that's the way cookies crumble, really.
But people are reaching more back for this more analog, sort of almost grainy sound now, aren't they?
Oh, granular synthesis. Yeah,
it's all coming back, and like especially with people that are doing what I'm doing with podcasts, and a lot of music's going back the way we were just talking before I came in. Weezer, one of my favorite bands, they made an analog album during lockdown, which I've listened to on my phone, on Spotify and stuff, but like on vinyl, that's going to sound so sexy. Like it's all coming back, you know, and you know, there's so many people being creative with computers, making podcasts, vlogs, these sort of things. There's more of a cry for people like you right now than ever before, right?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. You find people squirreled away making their music. I know quite a few people that are in bands that they sort of exist, and sometimes they don't exist. You know, the people who just get together to play, and their music is just so good, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing when you know what you do, when you know what you're doing, but like it must feel like a kick in the teeth to say you're not needed to do it anymore, you know?
No, not really. I think it's quite motivating.
Oh, I love your optimism. I love that so much.
One door closes, another one opens, and sometimes it's really good. I mean, this whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
I normally do 25 shows a year,
all
around the country and into Europe, and I have done one show. The last show was on March the 7th, 2020. I have not done a major show since.
So have you just been squirreling inside the studio, playing around with stuff, making stuff?
Yeah.
In the meantime?
Yes, a lot of the audio gear is now is in place,
optimized. Yeah, everything's sounding
and
great.
I've got a few projects that I'm playing with it. Yeah, half the synth rack isn't actually plugged in at the moment. I keep plugging it and unplugging it, trying to find the best arrangement so I can play.
I remember the first time I plugged in a Behringer mixer to do a podcast, and it took me about an hour and a half to play around with wires and to get it working, to mix, to connect to my laptop, really. And by the time we got it done, Garrett, who I was doing a show with at the time in Arizona, shout out to Garrett, was like, right, let's go. And I was like, no, no way am I doing a podcast after feeling like this. And I didn't. It was just so complicated, so complex. It's there's a lot to learn with these sort of things, isn't there?
There's lots of routing, absolutely. This thing behind me, this Tascam, is around the back. It's got hundreds of cables because everything's plugged. The different rooms have their own stage boxes, which can plug into that, so you can replug it quite easily. But it's a nightmare to even think about, really. Yeah. So I have currently got it. It's mostly used for me to mix. If I've got 100 layers of sound I want to put together as various outputs.
100 layers of sound. I deal with 3 or 4. Just speaking of that, I wanted to mention Bo Burnham, who's released a special on Netflix. Bo Burnham is a stand-up comedian in America, and he's a bit like the American version of Bill Bailey. There you go. Bill Bailey. 2 different people.
Definitely.
Bill Bailey. He's very good, though. He mixes music with comedy and stuff. And he released a special called, it's more of a musical, called Inside. And it's about content creators or creators being locked inside during lockdown. And it's getting so much critical acclaim at the moment. If you want to know what it's like to be a content creator and not be able to go out and make content and feeling that depression, go and watch that. It's called Inside on Netflix, because it's not easy when you got all these ideas running around your head, right? And you just can't go out there and see the world.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. I mean, we've done a couple of guerrilla outings just to light up a few things, but not to an audience, because you can't really have the audiences. We did the prison.
I saw that
on April the 9th. Yeah. We had a drive-by from local law enforcement. But
what did they say?
They thought it was great. But we were all, there was only 5 of us anyway, and we'd set it out. We'd care very carefully how we did it, so we didn't offend anybody, legal requirements and such. And no, they were quite happy with it. And so that's it. I mean, it's been very, very hard to do. Some of my shows have 20,000 people turn up for. They're big shows. 100 meters, 200 meters worth of projection for people to amble about in.
I saw the stuff you did for Bloom Studios. The
that was fun. We're doing an animation project with them now.
Yeah,
I've set them an animation project to go back on that building.
I really must get to Bloom Studios, because we did an amazing interview. It was just before the loss of Timothy King, and we did an interview with him, and then a few weeks later he was gone, bless him, and I haven't been back since. So I really do need to go back and sit with Kerry, and I would like to go when the kids are there doing work and speak to some of the kids as well and stuff, because I think places like Bloom and Raven Studios and the places out there that do encourage people to go out there and be creative, I think they're priceless. They're worth the weight in gold.
No, it's Kerry's outfit. It's really nice. I mean, the difference between her studio and my studio, hers is tidy. Mine's full of cables. Mine's delightfully full of cables. But so I set them an animation project that we're going to do to go on that building.
Okay.
Later in the year. So once we get to the dark months, we'll do it. So we've sort of had a first session just to introduce the notion of creating animations, because I write animation software. I'm a software designer as well.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's it. That's what my company was actually. I did programming in about 12 languages, from pretty much machine code all the way up.
Wow.
But Most of it's all UI. It's all it's just basically user interface.
Maybe I should come to one of your animation classes and learn how to make some animation for what I do.
Wonderful. Unless I write the software. So if I'm doing an animation project, I give away the software because I don't sell my software. I'm not interested in selling software anymore. Done that. Been there. Done that.
I'll have a chat with you.
Definitely. If you've got a young'un and you've got a computer, I can. For the price of getting yourself a webcam, £7. I'll give you the coat hanger to attach it to. That's the stand.
Okay.
And the piece of software, so you're up and running for about £10.
Nice.
Making animations. It's very, very simple.
It's really important to do this though with young people.
Oh yeah.
I just saw this amazing video on Facebook of this guy sat in a departure lounge in Belgium, I think it was, and he was like, "Go on, go and play the piano." Like people sat here bored, were delayed, and he's going, "No." And then finally, this kid gets and sits up at one of those pianos that's free, starts playing, and the crowd he builds up. And I'm thinking, fair play to that dad for encouraging his kid to go and do that. You know, that's what people need. They need that. You know, and was that the same with your kid? Because you said your kid's in a band.
Fergus. We used to tell him to stop singing. He's got an amazing voice. But yes, and Hamish is an illustrator and animator. He's been animating since he was 7.
Oh wow, it runs in the blood then.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think there's a predisposition toward. They're both creatives. I mean, that's my delight is that they are both pursuing a creative path. Whether they make any money out of it, that's irrelevant.
We were just talking about that as well before I hit record because you were like, "Oh, you don't get paid for this." I was like, "Not at the moment." And I was explaining how I got my Zoom thanks to sponsorship by Gin Different a while ago, because I don't make any money for this either, but I love doing it. It may seem like I'm complaining about carrying my stuff up and down the cop every week, which is hard work. I pulled my back out last week. I've only just got it back. But I love doing it. I mean, the only time I'd ever ask for money or need money is to keep it going. Because we've got this battered old equipment and stuff. If one of these mics goes or something, that's it for a little bit until we save some money. So it's not about. It's just
they'll last forever. They look really good.
Yeah, they're amazing.
But yeah, it is hard, and you have to do it. You have to plough a lot in that could go elsewhere.
Yeah, and what I wanted to ask you as well is about your visions, because right now we're looking at a piece you're putting together. It's to describe it to the listeners. It's very psychedelic, lightworks on spinning huge white discs with music as well that Andy's putting together. That it's like organically changes itself.
Yeah,
right?
it's analog stuff through 3 Moogs at the moment. And yeah, it's the landscape of psychedelic dreams is a new piece of work.
It's really beautiful. But to see that, to put these things together, do you walk by and organic things you see organically sort of like, oh, I could use this, or I can use, do you take like snapshots in your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I photograph everything. I use my phone these days. I don't take a phone with me anymore. Don't take a camera with me anymore. I just take a phone. And it's great. I have a plug-in for the sound. So I'm always collecting. It's just ideas mostly. A lot of the time you don't need to bother writing them down. It just triggers an idea. Shadows and reflections. Those are the things that really get me at the moment. But it is an endless thing. I go to bed with an idea and wake up in the morning and it's pretty well resolved itself. I should get paid for sleeping, really.
But that's what I mean. I mean, the goal for me as doing what I do is I'd love to get paid to do this on the radio. Someone wants to pay me to do it, I'll do it, and I'll do it for the best because this is what I love doing, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same for I imagine a lot of artists. One of my friends, we're about to do a podcast together. Eric Fluger, he's a world famous artist. He designed a lot of the artwork for a very famous show called Hollywood Babylon. He's amazing, but he has this love-hate relationship with his work. He'll start a project, then he'll hate it, then he'll have to push himself to finish it. Is that like across the board?
No, not really. I'm pretty good with mine. I get bored with them very quickly, though.
Yeah.
Once I've done it, I've just parked a huge project, so that's causing a little contention at the moment. This is a project that I don't want to take out again, that is being requested for the end of the year. So. So I've got another show that I want to float as well. So yeah, I might take the other one out if I can float this one as well. It swings and roundabouts, isn't it? I mean that's it. But yeah, I don't like repeating this. That's why all my stuff is mixed live. They're not pre-rendered shows. That running now is multiple layers of video that are different lengths, so they can never line up. So they're always continuously changing. So you get ripples and changes continuously. I'm fascinated by the sort of ripples you get in chaos. You walk outside, life is chaos, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And the sound of a town is chaos. And it's gorgeous. And you think, why is that? That sound is just perfectly placed. No, it's
And I feel like the more chaos, the better.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I mean, you walk out to a bland grey day where there's like not a car on the road or anything, you kind of like,
Yeah, but even that, you have to listen carefully, don't you, for the bits. You get a bird chirping and some things. I just love not being in control of what I do.
oh,
So
okay.
once I've set it up, I can play it. And that's it's removing. I like to be an audience for my own work, which means
I
I
really
need
like
to
that.
set it up so that when it's sitting running, I'll sit here and watch that just drift. And I mean, it started off as an idea for a piece called Kelp Fills, and it's just an underwater piece that I'd done some fish, animated fish, for a show up in Sowerby Bridge 2 years ago, and I haven't used them since. And I dug them out the other day and thinking, wow, I did a lot of work for that show. I did
Might
a
as
whole
well.
street. We did lit the whole street with fish swimming up and down for an evening. It was great fun. So they had giant sea anemones and things, air-blown ones by some cool people called the the Space Cadets, up in Halifax. But yeah, it's that was really good. So I just thought the Kelp Fields, I just fancy making a space where you can walk into a room, but you're underwater.
Yeah.
And you've got this chilled out, drifty, ambient sonic stuff.
I think we need that sometimes, don't we?
Yeah, well, I've got a bubble synth as well, because I made a bubble synth.
So what does that do?
It's a very big tube. Well, so there's lots of tubes. I've got one at the moment. And I've got a hydrophone that's suspended in it. It's got a stethophone, which is stuck on the outside. It's based on a stethoscope. And a mic over the top. And a whole load of injectors, so I can inject a single bubble into this column. And as it moves up, it makes a noise. So you can hear it. But I can inject a whole batch of bubbles.
Yeah,
Streams, but you can play it if you pulse it. It's got little taps, you can switch them on and off, so you can actually get rhythm out of these bubbles. And I just thought, wouldn't that be
fantastic?
I just need to light them up from underneath, so they're big tubes of water, lit tubes of water, so I can play them. However, there is an issue with that because they use so much water.
Yeah.
That and the electronics anywhere nearby. I'm still working on it because the first one leaked. So that's an ongoing notion, but the idea for the Kelp Fields is to actually use it, is to have it so that you can just plug in little bits and pieces.
Man, you imagine. What do you play? I play the bubbles. Like,
Absolutely, yeah. I frequently play a smoke machine.
So do you find yourself sometimes in here just playing around and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Actually, there's a better question. Have you done something? Have you made something happen in here you've not been able to replicate because it was just a random thing?
Oh, all the time.
Where was that? Where was it? What was it? What did I do?
Especially with those synthesizers out there. I'll run through some stuff and I'll keep twisting the various dials and buttons and things. And I think, wow, that's really good. But I haven't hit record on the desk. And I do now quite a lot. I'll come up with little motifs and stuff that I like, and then I'll record. But I like to record all the channels because they're all fundamentally they're independent analog channels, so they all change over time. So if I record everything, then I can go back and rebuild.
Go in.
Yeah, there's better ideas really. I'd say I can't read music. I love John Cage's musical notation and some of the graphic because I understand them, but I don't understand the rest of it. And as for key signatures and all sorts of other bits and pieces, the real world is predicated. It's not quantized. It's not auto-tuned.
Yeah.
Is it? And so my notion is I'm sticking to real world approaches. In other words, I don't need to know anything.
Let life be your notes.
Absolutely. Well, I record so much stuff that I use that with the field recording kit.
What do you use your stuff for, though? Where are your main sort of marketplace? Where do you send stuff to be used for?
And it's predominantly for my own shows. Though I did a piece for Robe Lighting. I did an hour and a half piece for their soundtrack to their piece at the pool, Light Up Pool, a couple of years. Well, 20.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you. It literally says, "What is a water screen?"
The water screen. Oh, it's wonderful. 1,280 nozzles.
Yeah.
It's a Stargate. I built a Stargate.
Wow.
I built my own Stargate, basically. I was going to build two. I've got a little tiny cameras that fit in the middle of them, so that I've seen it replicated now with LED screens. But about 4 years ago, I created this massive, it's well over 2.5 meters. We had to cut it in half in order to get it out of the studio. Classic case of building beyond the doors. So yeah, you looked at it, your image appeared in it and it was transmitted somewhere else. And then I thought, well, okay, I'll make it into a water screen and we'll still do the same thing. So basically it's a constant stream of water that you can project onto.
Oh, wow.
It's fantastic. It really is rather good.
Oh, wow. So imagine that if that could be like, because I know they were talking about holograms a while ago, how you can recreate holograms, and they were working a lot with steam.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's the same thing. Yeah. It's, you can use it with sugar and sand and dust, anything. I project onto smoke a lot.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice.
Yeah, I imagine.
Those are, they're very sort of ephemeral. I like projecting onto trees.
Trees?
Trees is great. Portraits in trees.
So on a still day or a windy day? So
either. It doesn't matter. You just get a shimmer in a tree anyway. And also, it depends on the leaves. There are some trees that are better with the lighter coloured leaves. So, bouncing them out of water, anything really, just to get a different effect.
When's the first time you shone a light on a building and thought, this is what I want to do?
1972.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was 19.
Yeah.
I built the building. I was a student, and it was Central Station in Blackpool, and we had a photographic introduction to photography on the course we were doing. So I ran around collecting photographs, just slides, out of focus, dragged and stuff. And then I built, because we had paper sculpture at the same time, so I built a whole room, and it was a physical room. You could open the paper doors, you could walk in there, paper furniture, and then I projected from all around using wonderful old things. If anybody remembers an epidioscope. Now you stick a book under it. It's like an overhead projector, only earlier. Great big mechanical things. That and slide projectors and a carousel.
Oh,
and I set it to Pink Floyd's Echoes off Metal.
Wow.
And it was just...
Was that automated, or were you sitting there clicking?
No, they were just automated. And there were so many of them. I had lots of bits all over this one. So you could stand looking in through the window of this paper room, and it was huge, and I was projecting on the side, and you could see all the projections of the station in chaos. It was wonderful.
Wow.
So that was 1972, when I was a student, and I'm not sure how well it went down. I was just told to get on with my sculpture, but I've still, that's where I started, 1972.
Well, you do a great job. I mean, that's how I've learned of you. I mean, I think what solidified me, like, I need to speak to Andy, was a few weeks ago I saw you with Maggie Love doing the Romeo and Juliet thing. That was hot. I think it was my Shrewsbury and Maggie that shared the pictures for that. I don't know, was it my Shrewsbury? I don't know. And I saw it and I was like, I definitely need to speak to Andy. And I hadn't yet reached out. Then I went to speak to Chrissy for the Bellevue Arts Festival, and I found out you're doing that, which we'll talk about in a second, the 10-second, 5 second, 10 second thing. And I was like, right, that's it. And I literally went home and was like, Andy, literally typed to you, we need to do something, and here we are today. So let's talk about that. The Bellevue Arts Festival, which is, by the way, a fantastic event. It's going on now. There's little bits pottering around, but there is stuff going on mainly in July. That's when it's going on. Lots of exhibitions.
Yeah.
If you're around by the Greyfriars Bridge, there's lots of beautiful drawings by kids that are attached to the bridge, and there's some nice stuff going on there. Make sure you check it out. But you're doing an event for them, right?
Yeah, yes, 10-second films. They asked if I'd do Sonic Gardens again. It was my lockdown project with Sonic Gardens, inviting people to send me a sound recording of their garden, plus 10 pictures, and I'd create you a unique piece of work which I send back, an animation, animation. But I didn't want to do that again.
Sounds like hard work.
It was actually. So I said, okay, we'll use 10-second films. It's a project I use all over the country. In fact, I've used it into Europe as well. Basically, I get people to take 10 seconds worth of film. They're the director, they're the editor. I don't want to know. I just set the parameters where they go. The camera's got to be stationary. There should be some motion in what you're looking at, but there doesn't have to be. And don't make a noise and don't be in it. That's it. Those are the rules. So you can do it. I did it at the Black Country Museum with a drop-in audience, huge, 110 people, and they all went out and filmed all day at the Black Country Museum, just making 10-second clips, and we piled them all into a lovely piece of software that I've written called AutoVid, and it does the editing. All it does is sequence them randomly, continuously, seamlessly. Wow. So it just plays endlessly, and it's always, you don't know what's coming next. I love that. So it's quite good. And I wrote that for the Liverpool Independence Biennial, which runs at the time of the Liverpool Biennial, in 2008. And I was working, I did a piece for, at the Wolfson Home Project, I had to work with somebody who I'd never met in a place I'd never been to for a week in public.
Okay.
Which is nerve-wracking, to say the least, especially because it was freezing cold in a horrible building with no heat. So yeah, Laura Wilson and I spent a week trying to work out what we were going to do. So I said, well, this is called Brief Encounter. Let's go buy a copy of the film. So we did. So I resequenced it. So it resequenced itself, where every cut was, run it into AutoVid, and every time it hit a cut length, it jumped to a different place. So the film was out of sequence. And we run 2.5-hour film sessions for it. It's only a 90-minute film. And the people sat there enthralled with this film that was completely disconnected to itself.
Stunning. It really is stunning. I mean, I was looking at, it is. Did you do the lighting for the Oktoberfest, the last one we had? On the ceilings?
Yeah.
Because I looked at that, right, and I was walking, and even back then, right, I said to my wife, I said, that's Andy McKeown. I was like, I know that work. I've seen it. I bet that's.
I'm that boring, am I? You can tell my work.
I know. Well, that's it. I recognise your work because I've seen it on social media so much. But so it's nice to actually see it. And the one I saw this morning when I was sitting there drinking coffee, researching my guest, was the kaleidoscope you did in Liverpool Cathedral. And I was just like, look at how I know you can just zoom in and zoom out with these projectors, but how immaculate you got it on that ceiling.
Oh no, that was a complicated mapping. It was 175 feet up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took quite a bit of alignment.
I was going to ask, that's.
But the pictures of the audience that night. It's the only time in the last 10 years I've had a standing ovation at the end of a show. Wow. People were coming in 2 hours early to get a spot on the floor because they had the heating on the floor in the cathedral. And I wrote the soundtrack to that, and it's really, really simple soundtrack. It's mostly my heartbeat.
Oh, right.
Echoing through the whole of the building all evening. And it was just so good. Plus some wind and noises over the top and some echoes and stuff. It was absolutely perfect. You listen to it out of context and you think, that's not going to work. But in that cathedral, it worked perfectly. It was designed specifically for that cathedral. How do
you plan, orchestrate, and then display a kaleidoscope of that magnitude? Because it was just, I know there's got to be certain complications to how you do it, but briefly, how do you make that?
Well, I wrote the software, so I knew it was going to work. So I create a piece of software specifically for that size. So I know what the distance is and I can work it out. But it is mapped because of my projectors you can do software and hardware mapping with. But the actual software was designed specifically for that space. So I have a kaleidoscope. I wrote my kaleidoscope machine. Gosh, when did I write that? 1998, something like that. 89. Yeah, around about 2000-ish. And I've been using it. I used it in 2003 on the market hall.
Okay.
It was the very first time that I had actually projected onto a building. I think they got round to me last because everybody said, no, it's a difficult angle, can't do it. You're scared to be fine.
Don't worry about it.
It was tricky. But but it worked. So because I write the software for my output, for most of my output, that's changed a bit recently because I use a really big mixer piece. But normally I write the software so that I can actually map it. I can scale it to size so I know that when I project it, it'll fit to what I want.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I mean, it sounds like you're very much a yes man. We just do it. Yeah.
Anybody yes, can it be done? Yes, of course it can be done. Now, whether we can actually manage to achieve that's a different matter. Mostly, yeah. I'd say yes, we can do anything. And then we have to have a look at it and then go away, find out how to do it.
I'm very much the same. So, big shout out to Cherie, who's doing she's painting the BT boxes around town at the moment.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah. Well, she was like, do you want to come up on the 19th and chill with us and speak to us? And I was just like, absolutely, yes, I'll be there. And then I realised, oh my God, I'm at prison. I do the prison escape. I'm a presenter. And I was like, I'm very sorry, but we can do it tomorrow instead. But I'm the same. I'll take on a project and then realise, oh man, what have I done? Has that ever happened to you? Are you taking on something that is probably a bit too big?
We have had to have two crews out. Yes, we have. Well, no, nothing's ever been that too big. We just get more kit.
Yeah.
I did a show because some of the shows are hugely expensive. I did a show in Wigan, and when we got there, the building was a lot darker than we'd expected. And we did a test, because we always do a test. We always just make sure we go up, fire it up, make sure it fits, and it didn't. So basically, I blew the whole budget on hiring in 2 really big projectors. So I didn't make anything out of it at all, but it didn't half look good. It was a 15-minute show, and we had an audience of 15,000.
Amazing.
And it was just huge, but we didn't make any money out of it because the building just didn't take light very well, so we had to put more and more light on it. And the projectors are 50, 60 grand each at least. So we just hire them in, and that was 10,000 quid for an evening.
Oh man, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Is there a building out there in the world that you'd love to light up and you haven't been able to?
Oh, there's loads. Yeah. I'll give you a list. Actually, I'm working my way through cathedrals at the moment. Because I've done quite a lot. I'd like to do Ely Cathedral. I'd love to do Ely Cathedral. Coventry Cathedral would be good. But the one place that I really, really want to go to, and I have been trying to do it for ages and ages, is the bombed out church in Liverpool.
Okay.
For a show. I've got a show. And every time that I do some work for Liverpool Light Night, and I've done so many, they sort of route me over to a different location. And that's, I definitely want to do. I'd like to take the landscape of kaleidoscopic dreams, or psychedelic dreams actually, to the bombed out church, because it would be such a place to chill out in, because the structure, it's a whole church but no roof.
Liverpool's amazing. It's one of my favourite. When people ask me, "What's one of your favourite cities in the world?" I mean, I'm quite well travelled, and I always come back to Liverpool. It's got so much character.
It's great, isn't it?
It's a beautiful place, and the people are actually really nice. Like people make all these stereotypes about Scousers and stuff, and I'm like, what? Every time I've gone there, they've just been really nice to me. Like, do you know what I mean? They're always happy to help.
It's great, isn't it? I do like it, and I've lit both cathedrals quite a few times, and I've one of the few people that has stood on the roof of the Metropolitan. Climbed up the outside.
Oh wow!
Last time I climbed up the outside, I had a camera crew from with their drone from Granada. I was photographing the stained glass up at the.
That's how Chris Shirk, he's probably listening. Thinking,
it's wonderful. It's a great climb actually, because you climb up, you go up the inside, then the outside.
Okay.
And then you go back in through the lantern, then you climb up the inside of the lantern to go out through a tiny hatch at the top.
I remember recording on the roof of the cathedral in Shrewsbury. Which I thought, the cathedral, sorry, the abbey. And they were like, oh yeah, we'll go up, they'll be fine. And I felt like I was in a game of Assassin's Creed, like shimmying across the side of the buildings and up the staircase. And I was just like, wow, my legs are killing me. Up these spiral staircases that were just so narrow, but in the middle is quite a drop, so be careful you don't drop anything. It was such an adventure.
It's quite a nice one to walk on. The one, St Mary's is quite interesting.
To
get up on to the top at St Mary's is actually quite a challenge.
Rob Milton, who I worked with at the weekend, because they had the history in churches weekend with the Corbett household there. It was amazing. People walking around in chainmail with swords and
wonderful.
shields. It was so good. And he's like, yeah, we need to definitely go for a coffee sometime, and we can do something, because St Mary's is another one of those places in Shrewsbury that's just a great community hub. Like, you know, it's not a worshipping church anymore, but it likes to offer a lot to the community, which I think is a really great thing. It's right in a great position. And he's like, yeah, we can go up the roof sometime and record. Now, I've got a great fear of heights, but this is why I do this, right? The column that's on Hawkston Park Follies, I've recorded at the top of there, and I was like back against the wall, like, yeah, so you're opening the park again soon, are you? It's gonna be amazing. It's quite a challenge.
I love heights. Absolutely love them. Yeah.
So yeah, Rob, we'll go for a coffee and stuff, but maybe Shane can do the up high one this time.
But St Mary's is a lovely place.
It is, yeah.
It is fab, and they are raising money. They've got a lot to raise. I mean, 250 grand.
250 grand, yeah. And I think they're constantly looking. I've got some audio to put together for them for next week. I'm really looking forward to piecing that together, jigsaw puzzle. But it was really good, actually. Just go around and speaking to people. That's the fun part, right? It's going around and speaking to people, and then you get the audio, like, okay, I've got to piece this thing together. But they are after exhibitionists.
Exhibitionists. Yes. Well, that's it. I theoretically should be doing Splinters of Heaven at Christmas. So, well, probably will go ahead. Yeah. It's just I've got fed up doing it, but I think it's a nice piece. I do it in different places because I always find all the glass is always whichever glass is in that church. So, but if I do it again, I'll have to rephotograph all the glass. start from ground zero yet again.
Really?
Because every time I look at a piece of glass, I'll have a different viewpoint, different cameras, and I've got lots
different
of
lighting coming through.
Yeah, well, exactly. So it's to do it. And last time I took all my scaffolding in so I could get high enough up to actually photograph it. So.
I remember reading something about the Abbey that they had pigeon problems and they tried to find out the cause and how they were getting in. And they then got in touch with drone rangers. I think it was the drone rangers, the Shropshire guys, and they set up drones and they went to find out where the pigeons came from. I was like, oh, what cool. I wish I'd have been there.
It's a great name for a company, isn't it? Drone Rangers.
Yeah, they're awesome. I really need to get in touch with them because they're very supportive of me on Instagram and stuff. And I don't know how we could use drones for a podcast, but I'm pretty sure there's something cool we can.
Well, I had with Granada, I had an interview part way up a climb.
So a drone was holding a mic.
The drone wings were up.
Yeah,
6 foot across. So it was huge, absolutely amazing, and it didn't make a noise. It was whisper quiet.
Drones are so exciting. It's such an amazing advancement in technology. They were talking about these octocopters that they're going to be using in the giant drones, basically, that they're going to be using in airports to carry your luggage from one place to another. And I'm just thinking, can you imagine going to the airport and seeing just drones just flying your stuff everywhere?
As far as I'm concerned, it's all Dan Dare.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't suppose you do you? Dan Dare comics?
Dan Dare, no.
No, in the 60s, he was a real hero. He was a spaceman, but he had a watch that you could, a communicator with video on it.
Yeah.
And I watched a video on my watch the other day, and I just had a total Dan Dare moment. So for anybody out there who's in their 60s who remembers those comics, it's all happened. It's all here. It's wonderful. Apart from the flying boots. Well, they're sort of here, aren't they? But
maybe. Yeah, they are working with jetpack stuff at the moment, aren't they? Yeah. Technology is a great thing, and do you feel like there's always, it's not necessarily a struggle, but it's always something on your mind that you've got to keep up with stuff, because there might be something you're missing with new technology?
Yeah, it's opportunities, isn't it? Long ago I realised that you can't understand it all. It's like a slippery pole and you're sliding down it. All you can do is grip sufficiently hard to get something, slow you down a bit. But I decided I wasn't going to write any apps. Because we're a software development company, that I wasn't going to do apps because the investment of time was not where my interest was anymore. Though I have just done a couple of small app control pieces for my own stuff, but they're not full-blown apps, and I'm really not going to get into that. It's just, I was thinking, cost benefits, it's just not worth me committing a year's worth of my life to get it up to the standard that I want to start creating art pieces with it. So I thought, no, I'll work it in a different direction. I'm much more interested in IoT. I love IoT control systems.
What's an IoT? Sorry,
Internet of Things.
Internet of Things.
The Internet of Things. IoT. So if I get my phone out and I switch the lights on and off and things, that's IoT. And that sort of technology I've done quite a lot of. I did for the flax mill. I could control the whole of the flax mill piece that I did a couple of years ago.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was all controlled from my phone. So I could switch it on and off and change it from my phone.
Stunning.
Which was, and I did that for the market hall when I did the piece for Bloom. That was the rub, was because we were locked out. I had all the physical time, the projectors were timed so they would actually switch themselves on and off at the right times. Now, of course, that's fine if it's dark, because they were switching at 4:30 and switching off 10:30. But of course, this time of year, it's not even going dark, is it? But so I had to work out a method of unpicking it. So normally you reprogram them by waiting till it's dark, projecting, and then using the menu system. Yeah, that didn't work because you can't get into MOS. And I have to say, MOS have been so good over the years. They allow me to use their space. They absolutely stunning. Yeah. They're always so helpful, and which is really nice actually. The guy, I've got a piece I'm going to do for them actually. It's all based upon sort of a Magritte type piece with ties. Which I'm still sort of working on, but we'll do that as it gets dark. But yeah, so I wanted to work out a system so I could sit outside and then get command control over my projectors, so that I could.
Better if you do it from a distance. And
no, it was not. Well, I worked out some IoT stuff that allowed me to map it all to my phone in the first instance, and then go and do it. I tried all sorts here. I had it running in the studio because I've got a mirror of the market hall piece here, so that I could actually learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And it took me an hour. Because it's 2 projectors, not just one, so each bit has to be done simultaneously, and there's a time difference between when they pick up So I worked out how to do it, and it worked. So I now have control over the on-off times from my phone, so I can switch projectors on and off whenever I like.
Oh, nice.
Which means they're up permanently.
So it's not like a case of are you keeping up technology? Is technology keeping up with you, Andy?
It's always finding little bits, isn't it? What can you make this technology do? And this home automation stuff, when used offensively in art, is brilliant. It actually means that I don't have to travel. The piece I'm working on with Pentabus for Attingham Park that will be controlled from a phone. It will be set up. I've already started exploring how the sound pieces can work. And then the aim is so you don't have to go in every day to switch it off, or somebody doesn't have to switch it off. It can all be automated.
Oh, wow. Amazing. It reminds me of that scene from Big Bang Theory, if you've ever watched it, where they code in the lights and the remote control cars, and the lights start switching off, and they have to explain, do you not understand what's going on? There's somebody in Shanghai turning off our lights, and it's all about context sometimes, because sometimes somebody might see some of your work, and this is not meant as an insult in any way, shape or form. They might look up at the market hall and see Bloom projecting there, and they might go, okay. But until they know the story, the hard work you've put into doing it, and what the good work that Kerry does at Bloom, then they might appreciate it a bit more, And it's
you get people say, it's just a projection.
Yeah,
okay, it's mapped onto the building with 2 projectors through a window that is so old that we're not allowed to screw into it. It's all delicately balanced, and it works because I've got offset lenses on 2 projectors.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's all of those bits, isn't it? But I always fascinates me is that people show their children where the projection's coming from. I did say to one woman, don't, it's magic.
Yeah.
That's all it should be, it's magic. You don't need to know where it's coming from.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
I don't bother looking where people are if they're projections now. I just look at the projections. I understand that you're trying to create a piece of magic.
Speaking about the future for you, by the way, I really do agree with that, actually, though, about speaking of the magic. As an immersive actor, thinking about it, going back, it makes it so much better when there's somebody actually in the moment enjoying themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And rather than someone's dragging their heels, this is stupid, look at him, So I feel you on that one. But thinking about the future, I was just thinking about back to you saying being a teacher and looking for new ways to sort of educate people. What advice would you give to someone that wants to be an artist and is going through what you went through as a kid? And a lot of artistic, creative people do when they're younger. Are you going to make money from that? Sort of thing. What would your advice be to them if they were listening to this today?
Well, you just have to do it. A job is a job. If you get a job, just to pay for it. That's ultimately it, isn't it? If you really have a passion and you want to do it, you'll find a way to do it. My dad was a writer, and he had endless little jobs to pay the bills because his focus was on writing. And one of his books was made into a film directed by Stephen Frears.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's you think, wow, that's quite easy to just dismiss that. And I was thinking, that's such a big thing. I wish he'd been alive when they'd actually made the film, which he wasn't. But it's that whole bit. Yeah, if you've got a passion for it, you have to find a way around to do it. And if it's part-time jobs, it's whatever you can manage to do in order to keep the passion going.
Yeah,
isn't it? I mean, yes, some of this stuff's really, really expensive. It doesn't have to be. I do say to anybody that wants to get into projection, beg, steal, or borrow a projector from somebody that you know. And a little computer, and just go out and light up a building. Just go and do it. It's not illegal to light up buildings, with 1 or 2 notable exceptions. But you're not doing any damage. But you can't do it in a studio for too long. You just got to get out there and shake a stick at it.
A lot of what I say to people is just ask people. Have you got anything that you don't need anymore? When it comes to bits of hardware, paper, or if there's companies out there, have you got anything out back that you're not using anymore? Or is there any way you can help us? Something if they haven't, they'll say no. If they have, then there you go. You've got some resources to use. Yeah. So it's always good to be polite and just ask. And you start and then you grow and then you grow. And I remember I started off with my podcast as a laptop and a blue snowball, which is the worst microphone ever made, but it's great to start off with, I guess.
It doesn't matter where you start. Does it?
It's look at me now. I'm doing this sort of stuff, and I'm enjoying it. And I've got a lot of people to thank for it, but it's only because we carried on going through all the difficult parts. And the same for you. I mean, lockdown mustn't have been easy for you?
No, it wasn't. Well, it wasn't. It was less easy for my wife, but she's a very sociable person. So I removed half of my studio back home because we share a studio on the top floor of the house. So I took half the synth rack there and decided that was a silly mistake. So we spent most of the first 6 months just working in the garden, creating a big panel sculpture in the ground and just working on that because she liked the company. Whereas me, it wouldn't have bothered me. I could come down the studio. I mean, I don't see anybody from one day to the next anyway, most of the time. So no, the hard bit for me is I haven't had any shows. It's that getting out there, and there is an enormous adrenaline rush. You get 10, 15,000 people in your show.
I imagine.
And with a huge thunderous soundtrack that I produce. That my weather machine is the touring piece that I so desperately want to tour on a bigger scale. And that's got full-blown thunderstorms and things in it, and it's wonderful. Wow. And at the show in Poole a couple of years ago, in this huge shopping mall, an empty, unused shopping mall, we filled the whole of it. It's about 45 metres of it. And at one point, it was raining. It's animated rain, and people were walking around with the umbrellas I gave them. And this woman and her husband, they were standing next to some huge speakers. So I fired off an enormous rumble of thunder. She put her umbrella up and he hitched his coat up. And I thought, either they're seriously good actors or they've bought into this. And it's the one moment. Oh, and then a woman doing a bit of Mary Poppins with making shadows in the installation with her umbrella and dancing. It was just so good. And that's, for me, that's the buzz, is that it takes 7 hours to set up a show, and the show might only last 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, but that's it, isn't it? You're seeing people enjoy something that you've made, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? You know,
and it's that ephemeral notion of you switch it off, that's it, it's gone. So thousands of people film the stuff, so we end up seeing lots and lots of pictures of
Instagram, Facebook. Yeah.
Oh yeah. If it doesn't, so that's So the pieces of work exist. It's not like painting, is it? The pieces of work exist only whilst the projectors are on, unless you record them. And I do that with my other work as well. Because I'm a landscape artist as well, but I create digital forests. I do make the drawings, and then I've written some software called the Tree Factory, and it creates forests of 10,000 trees. But it does the orientations and layout and gaps.
Amazing.
And then it gives you 30 seconds to print it or destroy it.
Oh wow! Okay, so if you miss it,
every 30 seconds it reconstitutes. To a new composition, because I don't like the idea of artist as the perfect composer of art. I think there's thousands of compositions. He just gets fed up, and that's the one he's going to finish. And so I know it's a contentious thing, and I have loads of arguments with people about it. But so I wrote this piece of software that did exactly that. So as you hit print, it destroys the image after it's printed it. So it's a one-off monoprint, a proper monoprint, but digitally done.
Wow.
So I've done huge forests.
That's how I was created, Andy. That was a one-off.
Aren't we all? But that whole, for me, that's another part of my work. I haven't done it. I must actually get the big printer out again. So I've got a whopping great big bureau printer for doing really big prints. But I haven't done any since a good 10 years or so.
Wow.
I haven't made any big prints.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Is there anything that, apart from the printer, is there any other examples of things that are stowed away in a cupboard that you haven't been able to play with for a while because you've been busy?
Oh, I'll write you a list. Goodness me. I see things and I buy things that I haven't used. I wanted a Pi Zero for a project, and I was researching the project, and I suddenly thought, I'm sure I bought some of them. And true enough, I bought 3 Pi Zeros, and so I didn't have all the bits of technology that I've got lurking around, and now being sort of welded into a new form for this piece at Attingham Park.
Wow.
Which is fun. I am a bit... I'd
love to come and check that out. When are you doing that?
It launches sometime in August, I think. I mean, I've only literally started to work on it. Pentabus have been working on it for quite some time. It's with young carers, and it's a really nice legacy project. So, that's it. And I've been brought in just to work on the sound for this piece.
I really must get in touch with Attingham, because I feel like we could work together. Because there's I forget his name, but there's a guy that makes the beautiful art pieces out of woven wood and stuff. He's on Instagram. I'm going to reach out to him soon to speak to him. But maybe if me and Attingham know each other and stuff, maybe they'll be like, oh, there's a guy coming in a couple of weeks.
I will mention you to Claire. who's
Yeah,
the
they may-
events and organizer.
I'd be interested to know if she
Visitor
knows who I am.
experience manager.
Oh, okay.
And they're really great. They're a lovely bunch of people, actually. As are Pentabus. They're great, actually. So it's quite interesting to work. I'm not the visual artist on this project. I'm the sound artist, which is one of the changes that I'd made during lockdown. Is that I started to pursue. I'd already started doing it, but I started to pursue. I'm pursuing more big sound projects now, as a focus rather than as a byproduct of my other things.
Yeah. So, are you? I was going to say, are you for sale? Can people hire you for projects if they need you, or is it just
they do. No, they do. I did a project in an underpass in Redditch, under a motorway, for 2 Shrewsbury-based artists, and that was fantastic. But they wanted to go on a journey. They knew what they wanted to do, but getting there and creating a performance at the end of it was big. They worked in the studio for a couple of months, and we went out and did this field recording stuff and put it all together as a piece. And then they performed it on the night under a motorway with an audience, which was so much fun. And that was the last show that we did. That was it. That was the last show before lockdown.
Wow.
Literally a few days before.
How amazing though is that? Like, an underpass underneath a motorway, and there's a concert going on, people driving over, they don't realise what's going on.
Oh, this was all about machines. It's called The Machine in the Park. It really, really was fantastic. I was amazed. It was a nice project to do, actually. But yeah, I've had a few artists in towards the back end of this lockdown who want to start exploring light and sound.
I imagine your phone's blown off the hook at the moment because there's festivals, there's events.
No, there's nothing.
No?
No.
Guys, jeez.
There's not a lot. Well, the thing is, nobody's commissioning on the grounds that
I think it's probably about commitment at the moment. People can't commit to something, can they?
Well, of course they can't. So, I mean, I know that anybody that asks me for it, it's going to have to be provisional.
Yeah.
So, well, that's fine. We might do Oktoberfest, hopefully. That'll be a laugh because that'll be a psychedelic affair.
That was such a good night. I missed Oktoberfest because we haven't had one since.
No, it was great. I love doing it, and I guess say the guys who do the sound for that, Pro Audio, they're absolutely wonderful people. Joe and Callum are great, and it's nice working with them. So I'm hoping I can get together with them. There's other people that you meet at these sort of festivals and stuff. You bump into all sorts of people, like the electrician who came to look around here to do some work. I thought, I know you. He does the electrics for Beth for Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
So it's a small world, isn't it?
It is, and it's nice. It's nice to run into people like that, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like you work with someone a couple of times, and you're kind of like, okay, right, we need to do something to get. There's something going on here. I find that quite a bit actually. I'm starting to see the same faces, especially people like Maggie Love or the guys from my Shrewsbury or Maggie Love. I've worked with before, and I've never got her on the show.
You ought to. She's got such a background.
I recorded the Shrewsbury's Open tours, the audio tours at St Chad's, St Mary's. I can't remember. We did the castle, and we did them anyway. And Maggie did the amazing one of Old St Chad's, and it was just so good. We worked all day on it. Then the other one was Bear Steps with Bibbs Cameron, who's awesome as well.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I see these names pop up every now and again. It just shows to me that this is a great community.
Yeah, Maggie and I have worked together, I think, since about 2006, off and on.
I will get her on the show.
Yeah, she's great. Actually, I do like working with her, and also some of the other things that I do. If I need somebody to direct some movement, because that's what she is.
Yeah, that's what she specialises in.
That's right. Yeah. So I've got the Cinderloo riots that I'm creating. I'm creating a static riot, an absolute static riot. So the audience doesn't move, but all hell breaks loose on 2 sides of a screen, because the audience is on either side of the screen to watch. As opposing factions, and I've got hence the path that's in the studio, but I've also got to choreograph the transition from a standing audience to one that's fleeing, having been shot at by the yeomanry. So I've got to create all of that. So we're going to do it with small groups of people, multiple films, Maggie's directed stuff for me before when I have created huge Exodus pieces, so it'll be one of those, and that'll be quite exciting. I'm quite looking forward to being able to get a group of people together, even if it's only a maximum of 30, in order to come streaming past my multiple cameras and sound pieces, just to give me it's trying to create a piece of work. It was designed for a COVID environment, so the audience are 6 foot apart, standing. But they're part of it because they'll have their phones with the soundtrack on, and they'll be part of making the noise.
Oh, brilliant. All completely interactive.
Yep.
Where can people find what you're working on and sort of get in touch and stuff?
I think the easiest thing is if you go to my website, which is wildstrawberry.com, and that's the name of my company, Wild Strawberry Interactive Multimedia Limited. Oh, what a mouthful. I wish I'd never done that. And if you click on my wonderful portrait, it's a bit of a Warhol portrait that was done a few years ago. And there's links to my Flickr and Vimeo accounts and stuff like that. But we're on Facebook, Andy McKeown Lightworks, and more importantly, Andy McKeown Soundworks is a new one. I've only recently. I've got no followers at all on Andy McKeown Soundworks.
Oh, you'll have one later.
But that's only because I'm just teasing that as an idea at the moment. I'm posting small amounts of stuff.
It's amazing though how an idea sometimes can roll downhill. Right?
Yeah. Well, this is sound pieces that for me, these are specific. Things like recording, like One Name, One Voice. I recorded 5,286 individual voices for that project.
Wow.
Over 3.5 years. 52 sound modules.
That's what I was asking you about earlier.
That is such a piece. That is so good. And off and on, we must get it ramped back up. We're meant to be doing all the voices 2090 for the flax mill.
Okay.
It's another. We had 200 or 300 in, and then of course the lockdown happened, and it all sort of drifted off a bit, and it hasn't happened at the moment. But we can resurrect that. I've come up with different ways of recording people face to face, without microphones stuffed up their noses. I've used my big dish.
Okay.
It's got 1,000-meter range.
So you can just record people.
Oh, it's just this is just beyond. This is a surveillance dish, a big one. And yeah, it's great. If I put the dish here and you just chat away merrily, so I can have people. So there's no physical breath contact with the microphones at all.
Oh wow! I need to borrow one of them. Get one in the studio. We should you? Hey, can we borrow it for? We're doing a 24-hour podcast challenge. We're going to be in the room for 24 hours chatting together. I don't think that would work on social media and streaming.
I like it. It's great actually because you get this. I record people over out in a wood or something over a distance. So I'll put the microphone about 50 meters away, or 100 meters away. So they're talking, and it's moderated by wind. Isn't it? The sound drifts in the wind, so you get this wonderful. It's a very I can't really describe. It's an ambient conversation sound.
So
it's wonderful. Music. Somebody playing a guitar at a distance is just beautiful. And trying to capture it is fantastic.
It's there are sounds and smells and things that remind me when I was younger. And one of them is like burnt wood on a field or something, as if you've been camping, and then the sound of people. So like when I was a kid in the tent, my mum told me to go to bed, but I just remember hearing people out by the fire, sort of singing and dancing and chilling, and swimming with a guitar or something. Those sort of sounds, they're quite nice, aren't they?
They are, aren't they? And it's I've been part of what I've been doing part of what I've got to do for Hattingham is to capture the sound. You know when you walk into a pub and you stand at the threshold and there's all these conversations going on, that hubbub you're not part of. You can hear bits of it. So that's what I've got to recreate.
What you need to recreate is the one where you walk into a pub and all the conversations just die.
Stop. Yeah.
You're like,
have I got my trousers on? yeah, I get that. Yeah, quite. But I mean, it's very hard to capture. It's very hard. We did some for Maggie. I actually managed to get a really nice recording off the dish from one end of the special exhibitions room to where the actors were at the far end, and they were just chatting away whilst they were waiting and stuff. And I got this lovely hubbub of conversation that you can't quite hear, but you can't pick out things. It's abstract, but you understand it.
They're great pieces of audio you can use for like.
Oh yeah.
Oliver Twist. You walk into a bar and you've got this ambience going on.
Yeah. Well, I've been toying with the idea of actually scripting a series of conversations.
Oh, okay.
So you have a table full of people and they're actors in a way. You give them a script, so they're having a beer or something, but they're talking about very specific things.
Out of context, that it might take wrong, sort of thing.
Yeah, and just the idea that is that okay, you walk into a bar and it's all chaos, But I want to actually walk into the bar when all the conversations I actually know very specifically what they're going to be for a recording. And you walk around recording. I've got a 360-degree sound film mic, which I'll show you shortly.
Yes,
it's gorgeous. Yes. It's only a level 1. I haven't actually managed to get a level 2. I built a level 2 mic, which is with 8 microphones. I didn't even know it was called a level 2, but I built one. But yeah, it's capturing those sort of interesting things for me.
It's life, isn't it? It is life, and you can capture life in things other than video and photography, right?
Oh yeah, sound is so emotive. If you ever see me walking along the street with my rucksack on and a blimp microphone hanging out the back, 10 to 1 it'll be switched on.
One of my favourite rides I've ever been on, it's a really random thing to say, is we went to Chessington, and they've got the Gruffalo ride, and it's like a very slow, for the kids, sort of log flume type thing, only one little drop, that's about it. But you go through, and there's all the lights and the holograms of the lights, and they basically tell you the story of the Gruffalo as you go around, and they take you into this room where they spray fountains over you, so they don't touch you. It's like being in Willy Wonka or something, and then there's certain smells and there's certain things, and they have giant Gruffalo thing come over you, and it's one of the most surreal rides I've ever been on. There's a lot of work gone into it. So yeah, if you're ever down that neck of the woods, make sure you go to Chessington and go on the Gruffalo ride, or just see if you can find a YouTube video or something. Take a look at it. Although it's 4G type experience, so you need the smells and you need the spray of the water.
That's a piece of technology that I'm really going to have to play with.
The 4G stuff.
The smells.
Yeah, the smells.
It's just, I've seen the machines
Yeah.
that mix and generate, and they're DMX controlled, so that you can. I just want to do them. Because I think I mentioned it. It would be great at Attingham. So you walk in and you could smell roast chicken or something.
Yeah.
So you just you get a notion. So if you close your eyes, you should feel as though you're in a room that is fully active. And that's what I seek to do for some of my bigger sound installations. Is to do that, and they're great fun to do. But smell is that's the next bit.
I think that's one of the things that's missing at the it sounds daft, but like when people come in for prison break and we're all dressed up as prisoners, like, "Whoa, how's it going?" Sort of giving them grief and stuff. But if you could sample the smell of an actual prison, I mean, I imagine prisons don't smell pleasant at all.
They're probably quite stuffy, aren't they? Because of But
so,
that's it. You can get all of the standard stuff, all the oils and stuff, but you can. On some of these big theatre sites, you can get some really esoteric smells and things that can be mixed, and then they can just be geared to fire at particular points. I've got so many ideas to do for some of my installations where you get that, like, it's just wet moss and things.
Well, that's what the smell was in the Gruffalo. You could smell the mud and the moss.
That's
and stuff.
And that's you walk into a room and it's been raining.
Yeah,
theoretically.
That smell of rain.
It's just they'll be quite good fun. So yeah, I have to say that's a technology that I haven't played with, that I really keep thinking. I've looked at it 2 or 3 times over the last couple of years and thinking, it's expensive.
Yeah.
What can I use it on? I need a big show to use it on.
You should reach out, because there's lots of theme parks going for these 4G experience rides at the moment. I reckon you could.
Well, I think they're getting into some of the museums and things, museums and galleries and places. They're the people that are beginning to.
Is it Conway Powers Castle? They said they're making an immersive thing up in one of their rooms.
They did have one. When they did the 1418 war thing, they had a wonderful section of theirs done out.
Yeah.
And it was very good as well. The sounds. There was
all
sorts.
to them, and I was like, I got a podcast. And they're like, really? I was like, maybe we could do something. And they were like, okay, we've got like a 4G experience coming soon. We'll be in touch. And they didn't message me. So maybe I should give them a prod. Because I think it's such a wonderful place. Even though it's not Shropshire, it's not even England. It's technically Wales, But like, I still think it's kind of on our doorstep and worth exploring. Do you know what I mean? So maybe we can take a look there sometime.
Yeah. Oh, yes, there are. I mean, it's one of my favourite places out in that direction is Llanidloes.
Yeah.
Have you ever been out there? It's such an arty place.
No.
It's wonderful. I did a show there a couple of years ago in the church. Probably about half the population came out. And they made a lot of money for Crisis at Christmas.
Oh, good.
They made a huge amount of money. We did Splinters, but one from their church, and that was good. And similarly in Conway, I love Conway.
Yeah.
What a beauty! I love walking around the walls at the top. It's just great, isn't it? And I've done 2 or 3 shows there now, and those are quite exciting. But there's lots of possibilities. I just hope people start commissioning soon.
Yeah.
I mean, we're okay in a way. We can just plod on, as it were, gently until things pick up.
I think when people can plan ahead,
Yeah,
without the worry of Boris going, I'm cancelled. I think maybe then people can sort of plan ahead, and these sort of things will come.
Well, they can't get the insurance for the shows, can they? This is the big thing at the moment. So you pitch a show, and if it goes pear-shaped, you've had it, and then there's no insurance cover on it, and huge losses. I can't imagine trying to pitch a really big show.
I know. When it came to like Beth Heath having to cancel everything, like my heart. I mean, there are so many people. I mean, the Flower Show, for example, we are missing the Flower Show in Shrewsbury. It's one of the most pivotal, and the Rock of Ages stuff that comes. All these things. I just think how people have got by. I mean, some people haven't, since the pandemic. How people have got by and survived, it's just been difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I feel like you should definitely support your events, and this is what we want to do. And like, if we reach out to you and we're like, "Yo, can we come to your event?" and we're not after a free ticket, we're out to sort of exhibit what you're doing. Mm-hmm. That's what we like to do, just to show people that.
Oh, well, you're always welcome at my shows.
Oh, brilliant! Oh, that's really nice.
One of the key things about my shows is they're always free.
Oh, wow! Okay.
I see. Whenever I'm doing a show, I work as far as possible is to have somebody sponsor it.
Yeah.
Which means I generally, if there's a big festival going on, they sponsor me to do a piece of work. But there's no fees, there's no costs to get in.
You've got to eat, haven't you? You've got to be more about the equipment. And
it's transport costs. They're getting us to a show. It can be expensive out to Luxembourg. It's just the sheer. And now with Brexit, it's not worth us going. We'd have to double our costs in order to go do shows. And I should have been out in Luxembourg to light up a castle in Luxembourg City last year. That may go ahead. Well, this year's possible. It's getting a bit late now. Yeah. But I mean the amount of visas and stuff you've just got to get. It's just knocked the bottom out of the market, really.
I mean, people are still travelling though. My friend just got sent out to Bulgaria for some photo shoots and stuff because he's a famous comedian. And I was like, wow, okay. I didn't realise people could travel, but people are.
Well, you can, yeah. We'd have to have a carnet for every single piece of equipment, nut, bolt and cable in order to go through customs. And the amount of costs to do that. Yeah. Just think, why would I bother? Because we used to just stuff it all in a van and drive. Yeah, and we can't do that at the moment. It'll probably ease up if they actually manage to sort out touring again.
I feel like I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I said 2021 was going to be the year for partying, and I think it's still time. It's still time for us to get out there and have a good time. Some people are, but maybe next year when the world does properly open.
It's going to be next year, I think.
I feel like it's just going to be such a euphoric moment when people can just go to gigs and stuff without the worry and.
You think they will?
Download have done they've done a mini gig, and what they've done is they're trialing testing people on the way in, and if you're positive, obviously, yeah. But so we'll see how that goes. And there's only 10,000 of that, whereas Download normally is 100,000 people turn up at that. So they're testing how a testing sort of process works.
Yeah, well, Foo Fighters have just done that, haven't they?
Yeah,
their gig was you had to have proof that you've been vaccinated. So there's a whole load of anti-vaxxers outside.
There's an app in America, apparently, that you can get now. Once you've had your vaccine, you can enter yourself on this app, and you can just show people, look, I'm vaccinated, and you can go places and do things now. I don't know why we're not doing something like that here.
Well, it's always down to choice, isn't it? But it is difficult. Some of my shows, it's immersive and it needs lots of people. And so those things aren't going ahead. The fact that they cancelled Glastonbury again. I mean, the folk festival's going ahead, but it's going to be outdoors, isn't it? They're going to have outdoor stages, a bit like going to the Big Chill or something like that. Yeah. Whereas it was always much more cosy.
Yeah, I need to speak to them actually. Jo at the folk festival. I need to speak to her so that we can see if we can come, because that'd be nice. We haven't been to a festival or an event.
Gosh, I haven't been. We haven't been. No, absolutely. I mean, that's it. We haven't done it. We did a rug. Luckily, we'd done a whole series of shows. We did 6 months flat out, up till the 7th of March.
Wow.
So it was okay. We always have a gap after that.
It's nicer, isn't it, when you can do all that work and just take a break?
It's the summer. We generally don't do much light during the summer. Though I noticed first show is usually September. Though I do indoor shows.
I feel I'm kind of starting to take breaks and stuff now, as I wouldn't used to, because like
You're getting old.
I get forced upon my comrades, especially with the USUC guys, because it's quite hard. It's quite difficult sometimes to plan everything from one side of the world to the other. You know, tomorrow I'm speaking to a guy from LA and. Saturday. In time zones, knowing what people's doing, and all sorts of stuff, it's difficult. So I've been forced myself to take breaks from time to time, because otherwise I just make myself ill.
Oh, you do, yeah. And as you get old and cranky, very old and cranky.
The guys know I do tend to get cranky when I'm kind of like, why can't this work? Why? How dare you have work for a living? Why can't you be free?
Oh,
sort of thing,
I've just run out of steam now.
Yeah.
You do a 22-hour round trip for a show.
Mm.
And I've had it for a couple of days afterwards. Whereas previously it wouldn't have mattered. I can keep going until we actually stop, and that's it. I'm out of it totally now. But it's taking it easy, and I think Andy's space radio is going to be a thing.
Well, you have to keep in touch with that, because
it's an amusement at the moment, but it might actually happen, because I've got all the gear. All the gear has arrived, so I can do it from here, and I've got the streaming.
Well, I'd love to speak to you about that. Privately off air, of course, but I got invited to a gig tonight at the old post office, and I can't go because I'm on the radio, and the Biscuiteers are all working or otherwise engaged, so I'm like,
the Biscuiteers, I love that.
Yeah,
so why is it called the Shrewsbury? Well, I guess Shrewsbury Biscuit, isn't it? It's good.
It's funny because I've lived all over the place, but at the time I was living in Telford, and I went to watch Ross Noble, who's a famous comedian, Geordie guy, and he was like, we were in Telford, and he was like, I'm going to go and eat a Shrewsbury Biscuit. And nobody laughed. He's like, you don't know what a Shrewsbury Biscuit is? And I didn't know what a Shrewsbury Biscuit was, and I felt like an idiot, right? So I moved to Shrewsbury, fell in love with the town, didn't know anything about it. And the thing there was, I didn't know anything about the biscuit, I didn't know anything about the town. It's famous. It kind of just made sense. So it's the Shrewsbury Biscuit. Here's me finding out about Shrewsbury while the listeners are, just like I found out about the biscuit. It's kind of poetic, really, in my head.
Well, my company is named, it's based upon... Ingmar Bergman's Wild Strawberries.
Oh, yes.
Because the language is sweet. My business partner was a Scandinavian languages expert.
Oh, okay.
And we used to do postgraduate languages. So we were going to be called Smultrana. But nobody could pronounce it. Nobody could remember it. So Wild Strawberries. So we shortened it to Wild Strawberry.
Nice.
Somebody got it. One of the actors from SYT came in. He says, you have to tell me that this name's based upon the Bergman film. And I said, yeah, you've made my day. You've absolutely made my day. So few people get it. There's usually one or two a year who come up and are film buffs.
Yeah,
that know it as a film.
Sometimes you dig yourself in a hole, though. I mean, with USUC, the other network I've got, US UK, we call it USUC.
I can imagine you're going to go.
So, Ori Kimler, who does our social media, she put out like a feeler sort of thing. Like, what do you think about the graphics? What do you think about this? Listen, what do you think about these shows? And a lot of the thing that came back is that Americans don't quite get our humor. Now, for me to say you suck because deep down you know you don't, that kind of silly thing. Americans just don't get that. And I'm like, oh, come on, we've got like logos, everything's made. You suck now. Come on, give me a break. She's like, why can't you just call it US, UK? I was like, because that's not what we were going for.
No, I like it. Yeah, yes, it does happen, doesn't it? Well, let's say I've got an American collaborator. One of these days I'll get to meet her.
You were telling me on the phone that you
worked together for 10 years.
Yeah.
Off and on. In fact, she does the most beautiful seascape pieces for me for some of my shows. She lives in Pensacola.
Oh, wow.
And the beach there is just beyond belief. White sand, Never Beach. Oh, it's gorgeous. And she's great. I mean, the times are difficult. We have occasionally spoken, but, it's 8 hours. So she's getting up and she teaches. She's an art teacher, daytime and stuff. But it's one of those things. We collaborate on shows. She does the American end of it. If we can find little shows to do, she'll sort those, and she goes to photograph them.
So I guess that's the beauty of like software, isn't it? You can just send it.
Oh, you do. That's it. We have been trying to work up a show where we can actually come out and do one of my bigger shows out, but we'd have to buy all the kit when we got there.
Yeah,
we'd just set it up to do that. But it'd be nice actually. I mean, she's got a couple of shows in mind at the moment that she wants to do, and they're quite nice ideas. So yeah, it's nice collaborating with somebody. She's she's distinctly a friend these days. It's great, but we've never met.
Yeah, huge shout out to Tom Bruno, my co-host in Vermont. It's the same. Like we worked together for like 3 years now, and I've never met him. He's the furthest guy away from me that I want to hug the most. You know?
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's he's definitely like family, and we've never met. But that's the beauty about what we do. I mean, whether it's conversation or whether it's sounds, lights, and visuals, it's all life, isn't it? And this is that's what's connected us. And I think that's what's the most important thing about going out there and making what you're passionate about making, because it comes across easier and better.
Yeah, I just like to have fun, me. As you see, my discs are rotating. Those will be controlled from my phone by the end of the week.
I did just take a picture of you, sort of sat there, but what I want to do is try to take a picture of you with the discs in the background. There we go, so people can understand
what lunacy is going on.
Yeah,
it is very much lunacy.
Right, we're gonna start wrapping things up. 1 hour and 20. This is probably one of the longest we've done, but it's probably one of the best podcasts for just talking. Like sometimes when you do an interview, you kind of have to follow a sort of set of questions. Whereas like to sit and just chat, it's just nice.
I hate interviews. I did one for Southampton. Did you see the Southampton project?
No.
I lit up 5 tower blocks during lockdown.
Wow. Yeah.
Southampton. It was the Mayflower 400 project.
I'll have to take a look. I think I know what you're on
about. My wife and I made 650 window panel flags.
Wow.
Signal flags. 130 of them carried a message that you could see from the sea as you went past these towers. And then it was cancelled and chopped and over, and I kept redesigning it. In the end, because we couldn't even go into the houses to put them up, I made them all up into tubes, individually labelled with instructions, and they were delivered to each household, 130 households in these tower blocks, and 95% of them put them up. It was amazing. Nice. It was such a good project. I was so pleased with it. But we made signal flags. I was sending messages with, and they were huge, up to window size things. These are 1.5 meters tall.
Wow.
So it took us 2-3 months to actually make all the flags. But they're
very creative.
All produced here. No, it was a factory. It was a factory. But it was a lovely project. But it's one of those things that I want to do more of that, because I really enjoy making colouring windows, because in the daylight they work like a stained glass window, but at night when people switch their lights on, the whole building glows. So I want to do some of that in Shrewsbury. There's lots of potential for creating stuff like that, and there'd just be a bit of fun actually. The market hall would be good because it's got lots of windows. Create messages and ripples and patterns and things.
Especially with the shape of the buildings.
Well, it looks like a boat anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'd be quite nice to do a shipping.
I did a show at the Petit Glue a couple of weeks ago, and Robin was like, we're at the bow of the ship. It's
quite a bit of fun. But yeah, this is, I have to say, the studio's not finished, as you can see. I've still got some decks to finish off. Above here is 9 meters by 6 meters worth of storage.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, that has been filled in. That one's just done. Nice. And I've got the other 2 to do. Once that's done, the curtains are in. I've got different coloured screens, the whole of the space, and I've got a green screen floor as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you can be anywhere you like. And also, if I put the big screen up, my rig is. Did you watch The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Do you see how they made it? Did you watch that?
It's a lot of practical, lots of.
It's physical. Yeah. No, it's not green screen. No. These are real LED backgrounds.
Oh,
it's so big. The actors could see it. But the camera, they used the Unreal Engine. So basically, as the cameras move, the set changes. So it's camera point of view. But the actors could actually see where they were. They could see the landscapes that they're working in. So I thought, I can do that. So I did. So I can be on the stage. I can have a band on the stage. And on the wall next to them is the set that they're actually in. So they can actually see themselves on the stage in that space.
Wow.
So I designed it so I could do a radio play, but also film it. So have an old-fashioned library with all the books and stuff.
Wow.
All green screened, but people on the stage in that space. It's just so you if you look up, you can actually see on the wall. You can see the set that you're in real time.
Okay, so you're not like
no, you haven't got to imagine. No, you haven't got to imagine that there's a cup there. You can see it.
Yeah.
So if it's got green screen boxes and stuff, you can put them down and stuff. Yeah, I'm fascinated by that. I love it as a technology.
Yeah, they did an amazing job with The Mandalorian. Amazing job,
great,
Dave Filoni.
I've watched the how they made it so many times.
I bet.
It's well worth watching. It's just because the technology is actually other film studios are now using that method, and it's all consumer facing gear as well. It's not custom. They use the Unreal Engine and LED panels they can buy online.
I need to get a green screen, I think. One that you can just pull up.
Because I'll show you two. I've got two here, pop-up ones.
Oh, yeah.
They stick on the back of your chair.
Yeah, that's one I need to buy.
They're really good.
Because yesterday I was kind of like, oh my God, I'm recording in 5 minutes. And there was like washing that hadn't gone in the washing machine that was behind wherever I recorded. I was like, so if I had a green screen, I could just be like...
No, so the really cool thing is you photograph the washing, you tint it all in colour, put your green screen up and then put it back. So people have just got this really cool surreal landscape that you're existing in. But yeah, I do. I mean, one of my go-to sets for a podcast is when I worked at the Flatsville. We had lunch. Our Christmas lunch whilst we were installing was on the top floor. So I've got this endless view. I photographed it specifically so I could use it on a green screen. So it's as though I'm in my office, and the office is the whole of the top floor of the flax mill. And it's so good, it's very convincing, because I photographed it with that view in mind. I knew the height that I'm going to be sitting at, so I wanted the perspective to be correct.
I should do something like that. Like a bit like the Bat Cave or something, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello.
Well, I make all sorts of three-dimensional backgrounds for mine. And yeah, those I bought two pop-up screens to stick on the back of my chairs.
They're handy.
Because though I can set this big one up, most of the time it's not set up. So sometimes I just need to sit where I am with the camera pointing at me.
Yeah.
And I can just do a workshop.
Amazing. Well, Andy, I've loved speaking to you. Every single minute of this interview, I've really enjoyed it. And I'm sorry for yawning for the night shift yet. Okay, so I finished my night shifts for the week yesterday, and I slept for 8 hours. I got up for a couple of hours and then went and slept for another 8 hours. I must have really needed it because I'm still tired now, but it was a long week. But thank you so much for joining me on the show.
No, thank you. I like rabbiting.
No, this is what we're about. And I'd love to invite you back. Anytime you want to come, just tell me and I'll be here, right? Because I love speaking to you. So again, tell people where they can find you. We talk about the website.
Yeah, wildstrawberry.com or Andy McKeown Lightworks on Facebook.
Yeah.
Android 9.
Yeah.
I think it's Android 9. It might not be, actually. I can't remember what it is on Instagram now.
Are you on Android 9 on Instagram?
No, that's Twitter. Android 9's on Twitter. I can't think what it is now. You can't miss it. It's the same photograph on all of them.
Yeah, it's a very cool photograph. You black and white, and then the colours behind you sort of.
Yeah, that's right. It's a bit of a Warhol picture. So yeah, I did that.
Very cool.
It's Random Segment. Is my
Instagram.
It's my Instagram.
You have to be on Instagram.
Well, I've got 4 Instagram accounts, but it's really cool. It's nothing to do with work. You get pictures of the cats, you get pictures of the food that I cook, and occasionally I post the shows that I'm doing as well. But it's a random mix of my life.
It's a nightmare, isn't it? Because I've got like 3 different Instagram accounts. One, the Biscuit guy, which is me, which I haven't touched for months. People still follow me and stuff. Okay, the Biscuit one, and then you suck, and there was one for me as well. I haven't used in years, but it's crazy, isn't it? You got to have one for each thing, you know.
Well, people keep telling me, "Oh, you shouldn't put all your family stuff onto that Instagram." I said, tough. It's my Instagram account. All I'm interested in is I'll post whatever I like on Instagram. It's me. It's like a sketchbook, and I just pop stuff up on it. And I have people all over the world that actually send me comments about the food that I cook and stuff.
It's nice, isn't it? It's cool.
And it's just it's one of those things. I quite like Instagram. I use it for collecting material for shows.
Oh, okay.
And it works a treat. I use a German program for downloading the stuff. So if I give you a hashtag and you post a picture to it, it automatically downloads it if it's got that hashtag onto my computer.
Oh, okay.
So that I can build them into the shows. Amazing. And that's really a cool way of doing it, because it means there's no emailing, so GDPR and all of that stuff. It just appears.
Oh, wow. So you wait to the computer on and I'll
switch it on, and if I run the program, it goes to collect anything on that hashtag. So I set the hashtags, obviously. You can't do it with any old random hashtag. You have to be the owner, the instigator of the hashtag, and the account for it. So, I use it for all my shows now. So I can get global submissions for a piece of work. When I did Sonic Gardens, I had stuff in from Spain, Florida. That was Deborah. Somewhere in Germany. We had loads of people just sending stuff in. I thought the project was going to be local.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing when you like a small drop in the ocean can create such a big
wave. Absolutely. Yeah.
Andy, I'd like to tell you about something that we're doing in September as well. Actually, we're doing a 24-hour live podcast for charity. We're going to be raising as much money as we can for Lincoln Davis. So at 9 a.m. on the 29th of September, I'm going to go live with the Shrewsbury Biscuit. We're going to do that until 9 p.m. We're then going to switch over to USUC, so we're going to dim the lights a bit like what they're doing Red Nose Day. And I'm not going to stop streaming until 9 a.m. on the 30th of September, which is International Podcast Day. Nice. Now, the guys at International Podcast Day in LA are very aware of what we're doing. They're going to be on the show. They're going to come and join us. They like what we're doing. We have our main sponsor in Reach. Reach are amazing. They're doing our PR and marketing. We have a venue, thanks to the guys at Shrewsbury Town, the community. We're going to be using their Reach Community Hub. We're going to be there for 24 hours. Going to be lots going on, lots of people coming and going. I've just had confirmation that the mayor's going to be there. Charlie Adlard's confirmed. We've got Charlie Adler, who is one of the most famous voice actors on the planet. And we've got so many amazing people coming on that want to be part of this show to raise money for Lincoln Davis. We do have a brand now. I think I can say this now because this isn't going to go out for 2 weeks. But this event is going to be called.
What a great! Well, that's a nice flag, that isn't it?
That's nice, isn't it?
Good, yeah.
And I've looked. There's no out there in the world, so we are. This is.
You need to register that.
Yes, we do, and we're gonna with this name, this new amazing thing that Reach have helped us get. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna be like, this is. Get involved. So there's still a few spots that we need to get people involved with. Now listen, guys, we are looking for sponsors, and how we're going to do this is we're going to sell sponsored hours. I have been saying on the show that every sponsored hour is a minimum £50 donation, but I've been advised apparently that is peanuts to a lot of companies. So I've been advised, I'm very sorry, by the people above me to raise the price to £100. If you want to have an hour sponsored on this, it's going to cost you £100 donation towards Lincoln Davis. And what that will get you is we will display your logos, your decals, and we'll be like, this hour is sponsored by such and such, this hour is going to be brought to you by Web Orchard, this hour is going to be brought to you by Reach, this sort of thing. So that's what you will get. And so if you do want to get involved, we want your money. So you can find all the details of how to get in touch with us at our website, which is the shrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk, and that's a website made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. And if you need a website, make sure you check them out. Lots of conflict of interest going on there. Got Reach who make websites and Web Orchard who make websites, but they're coming together to make this event for charity. So very much, lots of respect to them guys for doing that. Andy, you've been amazing.
Well, thank you for inviting me in. It's been great fun.
Yeah, and we're going to go and geek out about microphones now. So thank you very much for listening, guys. It's an extended podcast, but I think you're going to enjoy it. Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next time. Peace out.